Welcome to Season 3 of the Knack for Business podcast. Over 250 episodes strong, we're here to ignite your entrepreneurial spirit with fresh insights, networking gems, and creative strategies that elevate your game. Are you ready to discover what your Knack for Business truly is?
Today's topic is Got Laughs, Got Healed, Got Health. Your hosts are Bernie Franzgrove from Creative Insight and Wayne Pratt from Motivate You Inc. What can you expect from the Knack for Business podcast? The aim is to help you find your feet in the business world, whether you're just starting out or you've been at it for a while. We have something for everyone. In each episode, they dive deep into a particular area of business and explore the ins and outs of the subject. They interview guests that are experts in their field who share their success stories and their experiences. They offer practical tips and advice. Our guest today is Imrie from Best Medicine, a company dedicated to supporting individuals impacted by PTSD and mental illness. Drawing on his extensive background in stand-up comedy, Ian has transitioned to create impactful change. Best Medicine aims to build a strong, united community that fosters awareness and healing. With personal insight into the challenges faced by first responders, Ian brings both compassion and creativity to his work. Notably, the company's upcoming event, Laughter is the Best Medicine, will bring 550 people together for an evening of humor and connection, highlighting how laughter can be a powerful tool for healing. Ian, welcome. And do you have a favorite quote or saying?
Right now, we are literally launching a great quote, meaning if we heal out loud. And that's a big one with our guys. We're finding that a community is coming together. So let's definitely get out there and heal out loud.
And what's your business tagline?
Our tagline is for any kind of day. We just launched this tagline as well. You could have a great day. You could have a bad day. You could have a wonderful day. When it comes to support mental health and everything that we're talking about, we want to be there for any kind of day. So it doesn't matter what kind of day you're having. We want to make sure that you are with us every step of the way for any kind of day.
How did your background in comedy influence this journey forward? What was the genesis? What was the trigger?
When it came down to doing comedy in Canada, obviously you're not going to make a lot of money doing it. You're going to have a lot of experiences. You're going to have a lot of great times, a lot of amazing stories. But what we found was getting older and having kids. I don't want to do a real job. There's no way that I want to spend the 9 to 5 as part of my experience when most of it had been evening living, being social. When it came down to having kids, money needed to be coming in more constant. So we looked at doing an entrepreneur project, and during COVID, we launched a medical cannabis company for CBD. That company was all about supporting what our family had experienced with cancer. We had a relative who had been diagnosed late in life with cancer. It was pretty much the end of life news. What other options can I do to extend my lifespan with this experience? And they dove down the world of medical cannabis. There was just no real support at that time. This was pre-legalization. So we and some friends, we put together a company where we could provide some resources, provide some guidance, making sure that you do have quality interviews and practitioners reviewing what your needs were. So it started as a cancer support system. And what we found was more and more people were coming to the door asking for help with stress, anxiety, sleep deprivation. A lot of these folks were coming in from the first responder field, the veteran field. A lot of Indigenous people needing help with sleep. So we quickly saw that this was becoming more of a norm, coming into something and thinking, oh my God, we want to be able to help people with cancer, but here we are helping people more and more with anxiety and stress and sleep deprivation, and uncovering that it's PTSD and mental health. And a lot of these folks just needed some support. So fun fact, being in the world of medical cannabis, you're not allowed to advertise. You can advertise Bud Light, Canadian, every beer system in Canada, but you cannot promote or advertise any type of natural CBD product in the market. You have to set up a practitioner interview or an appointment. And that's what we decided to do. Then we noticed with that lack of advertising or promotion, let's go and do something different. Let's bring the awareness to PTSD. Let's bring the awareness to what these first responders, veterans, and the Indigenous communities are going through. All Canadians are more than welcome to take a look at what we're doing, but we wanted to focus on some of the first responders that we had been finding friends with our Tansis venture.
How does humor affect or heal PTSD?
That's a great question. So endorphins, that's the feel-good hormone. But when you're laughing, it blocks the distress that you're experiencing, the anger, the anxiety, the stress. It's a hard time with laughter. So that gives them an opportunity to just relax, get themselves enthused. There's a lot of opportunity to find your headspace in a better moment. You're leaving all of that behind because you're in the moment, laughing and engaging that particular story, joke, that experience, and it just alleviates some of that stress. We have some great partners that provide all sorts of medical support in that way, but our job is to bring the awareness to it. So folks are wanting to look for a community. This is what Best Medicine's here to do. We're here to talk about what other folks are doing for their best medicine and working with their journey of PTSD and mental health. I think I found a stat the other day that there's 900,000 adult Canadians dealing with PTSD and mental health. They all have certain ways to get their support, but as far as a community bringing some laughter and an event they can go to and enjoy a night out, this is something that we really want to bring to the forefront.
Speaking of night out, you have an experience with my favorite comedian, Mr. Williams.
Yes, he is one of the obvious greats of our time that we got to watch a genius at play. And really fortunate to be in the right place at the right time when he was in Vancouver, BC, shooting his film RV. Every comic that was around at that time, we were always around at one particular club. And this club constantly working. We're constantly doing our craft. And then, of course, Robin Williams started showing up, hanging out with us, telling stories and just being a part of it. And he even gave us, in some instances, an opportunity to hang out with him, walking him home. He would always bike in and go, "Hey, you want to walk me home?" Absolutely. I want to hear your stories. I want to hear what you've got going on. And it gave some of us a great opportunity to get close to that level of genius and just hear his experiences through his journey.
The comedy piece, even becoming a comedian is in itself a business, but taking the comedy and then shifting it into the health and wellness space. How's that journey been for you? How long has it taken you to go from, hey, I can tell a joke and get some good laughs to, yeah,
Yeah,
that's
well,
something
my
good.
journey in comedy was 1997. I started during university. I was going through school and I got picked up and started working with Yuck Yucks in Ontario. Came out to BC in 2003 and continued with the local clubs here. Great community, great support all around. The two together made sense because we've all heard laughter is the best medicine. And being able to create an opportunity of awareness for a very tough conversation. A lot of people don't want to necessarily talk or they want to keep that a secret. But as our favorite quote is going, we need to heal out loud. So let's laugh out loud. Let's get out loud and share. Our new podcast is available for folks that want to share. They want to share their journey. They want to talk about what they've got going on or what they did for their best medicine, bringing in industry experts to share why laughter is the best medicine or what other folks are doing with their journey. We want to share that out loud. We want to make sure that everybody has an opportunity to tune in and hear what's going on. The toughest thing that we have seen is just stripping away that stigma and letting everyone know that it's okay. Let's get together and have a laugh, share some stories. And this might trigger something for someone. And that's what we're hoping we will accomplish is just a simple conversation like this, talking about what one person's journey was. Maybe that trigger that they were like, oh my God, I didn't even think of doing something like that. We're hoping this venture will give everybody a chance to tune in, listen, and make some changes if they need to.
How do you envision Best Medicine support in the future? How does it unfold in a perfect world?
In a perfect world, we want everybody to tune in. It becomes that community. You want to log in and take a look at, oh, there's an opportunity to join a group of fishing guides or a bunch of motorcycle guys that like to use wind therapy. Let's tune into that as an opportunity and just grow the community outside of everything that we're doing. Using some digital tools, getting into the digital world. Obviously, we want to use the podcast as a reach. We're talking about putting together an app specifically for the daily need for any time of day or any kind of day. These are the things that we want to be able to tune into and give the support immediately. And that's something that we're developing as we speak.
In the whole process, you've done the comedic piece, you recognize the wellness piece, and you're bringing it together. What challenges have you faced? Has there been a mentor to going, hey, get to this stage, do this? Almost here's the two-step, right? How did you map it out? Was there advice, sound advice, or did you just throw the mud against the wall and see if it stuck?
There's a lot of mud. There's a lot of mud being thrown. No, but And we do have some great partners that we're working with. A lot of the partners we're talking to recognize that integrative way wellness is the way to go today. We need to take a look at what kind of options there are with your wellness. Some of the direction that we heard was let's get an opportunity to talk and laugh and set next steps. And that's all of the formulation that we're looking at is putting all of those three together and then start executing those specific needs. If there's a pitfall or something we're missing, we're in the early stages that we can quickly adapt. And that's why we're raising our hands and saying, we don't know everything, but if you think that there's something else we need to do, we are a blank slate and are more than happy to listen to what you have going on or whatever suggestions we might need to do.
You aren't a social worker, but you've uncovered this missing piece about any kind of day. Tell me about the plan to reach those having challenging days, especially from a non-social work framework.
Any kind of day is exactly that. We want to establish that we are ready for you at any kind of day. We're looking at putting those pieces together so that if you are in need and we have launched our digital app, we're able to tap into your specific need. This is where AI is coming in because AI is making a wonderful introduction to health and wellness and how they can bridge that moment of need to the moment of delivery from a professional therapist or a professional of that specific field to get them that specific need. That's what we're hoping we can get launched here in 2025. And those are the conversations we're having with the therapists, the developers, and those specific veterans. We're a great example. We have a veteran telling us your app needs to drill us. Get up, soldier, get moving, get to your task, execute. And those are the types of things that we want to add for those specific needs for any kind of day.
It wouldn't be the first organization that wanted to raise money to an event, whether a comedic event or some kind of a gala, and that money is to pour into the organization. But there's a perpetual motion piece to yours where the humor and the event and the healing seems to cycle back to the humor and the event and the healing. There's a real cyclical nature to this. Was this accidental? Was this on purpose? And am I making any sense at all?
You're making sense. And I think we knew what this was going to be for everyone that we talked to pre-launch was, oh my God, this is a great idea. I have my uncle, my cousin, my father. We had one particular partner that we were talking to. We had her in tears in one of the initial meetings because this would have been great for my father who was in World War II and came home and our life was a living PTSD and we didn't have anything for him. And this is what we want to be able to provide. So because it's a pioneering event, we do have nothing to support us at this point. And so we are reaching out to charities. We've got 3 charities that are looking into us to work with us to bridge us as we become our own charity and nonprofit so we can get the support we need, get the content out, bring in the folks and bring the show and give them an opportunity to engage with us. We really want the engagement. We want people to come on and share. Again, that podcast is an invite to anyone that wants to share their story. I'm sure they have a great story. It might be a sad story. It might be a good feeling story. We don't know. We want to share whatever story is available and of course, back that up with the professionals in the field to share what they're currently doing in the market.
Would you find that you're working with in the healthcare industry also, like with hospitals or especially where their hospital has a research wing, mental health? Is that an area that you're also tapping into?
That is brand new for us. Yes. We've been working with the Veteran Affairs. The Veteran Affairs are part of our relationship with the medical cannabis piece. With that comes relationships in that sector. We're reaching out to the Canadian mental health. We're talking to Fraser Valley mental health. We're looking at bringing all of that on place. We have a brand new partner coming on where they have it all in-house, private. We wanted to tap into that as well so they can share their story. We can go on site, advertise and market what they're doing and have a conversation with their professionals and therapists.
Have you also explored the role of employee assistance programs? Have you found partnership opportunities in that space?
Yeah, with our previous experience with Antis Health, it does still provide support with those products, but there is a lot of support from Veteran Affairs. There's a lot of support from insurance companies with healthcare spends. There's a lot of opportunity for people to tap into something they didn't even know they had access to. A lot of folks would call up and say, am I covered for? No, but you have a health spend account that you can spend on this type of thing. We want to be able to guide folks with what's available to them for these programs, especially in Indigenous communities. We're partnering with some Indigenous communities and organizations that can help guide us to that particular help. These are ongoing conversations and developments as we speak.
In the medical marijuana business, you have a natural medicine integration component that you want to stick with. Can you tell us more?
Yeah, that is one that we're going to stick with because I think when it comes down to loan, unfortunately, is just getting started now. A lot of folks don't really, well, I'm sure you probably heard 1,000 times, oh, I've tried CBD. It didn't work for me. That's because you weren't coached. You weren't advised properly. You probably went to a rec store and picked up the local brand and gave it a try. Neurologically speaking, our bodies, anybody with a vertebrae needs CBD. It helps with stress. It helps with anxiety. It helps promote sleep. And that's our biggest root cause is our sleep. If we're not getting the healthy sleeps, then we're not functioning healthy on a day-to-day basis. So we want to have that as a number one option is that they're looking into how they can get natural sleep with healthy products and then go from there. I know that psilocybin is making a big comeback or is launching large here in the West Coast. I know melatonin is a great conversation. Folks are now talking about lion's mane for cognitive redevelopment. There's a lot of options here that we certainly want to put into the conversation so that people have those options when they're looking at it. And this is not a let's get high experience. This is all about natural products that put you into a better state of mind. Let's talk about some of the pain supplements that are available to you naturally so that we don't add to some of the other medicines that you're currently taking. Your liver can only take so much, especially on a Saturday night.
Sounds like my last weekend. You reached out to the first responders and the veterans. How's that integration gone? How did you know veterans or with your brother with the RCMP? I'd imagine that would have been a lead in from the constabulary side. How did you know that these guys are hurting?
A lot of my friends that I grew up with, we played hockey, football, baseball, and we've all stayed close through sports. We became brothers and keeping close into life and hearing what they've got going on. I've got friends with the Sudbury Police, Calgary Police, friends here in Langley and Vancouver that are firefighters, and the stories they share. It's just incredible. So this is where some of that support started to come from, just sharing some ideas of what we can do for them and hearing how some of these guys are supporting themselves through PTSD, self-medicating with alcohol or drugs, taking time to get over the hump. There's got to be a better way. So that's how I was able to tap into some of those resources. So tapping into my network, tapping into friends, and then taking introductions and referrals into other organizations. And we're able to grow a nice, strong base. Frontline Forward out of Kingston, Ontario, they created a brick and mortar gym facility. It's a multifaceted facility that has yoga, 24/7 counseling. It has financial planning. It has Antis Health, medical cannabis, and CBD. They have it, and it runs 24/7. They've got someone at the front from 9 to 5, but then that brick and mortar facility runs solely for the PTSD survivors that are coming to as a group. It's like a new legion, supporting one another, their mental health and growing their health across the board. And that's something we were able to tap into. And they're the ones that are going to be bringing us to Kingston in the new year. They want us to do laughter is the best medicine for their communities. This is just getting started now with some production planning. That's how we see this growing and coming to the communities and tapping into those resources and sharing what everybody's got going on.
You're fairly early in the best medicine journey. Have you got success stories yet?
Yes, this one really got to me. Our first episode, I brought one of my friends on that's in Calgary, and he shared a story that what he currently did with his PTSD. He became a woodworker, and he likes to craft wood projects, sharing how about being able to check in and know what's going on. My co-host, Michael Adams, is a fantastic Vancouver performer. He's Blue Ninja Jay. I don't know if you guys, your kids or grandkids or anyone in your life watches Ninjago. He is the Blue Ninja, and he has a phenomenal command of the voice language. We got to talking about wellness checks. Nobody wants to, oh, I'm doing a wellness check. Coming from the military, first responder, and entertainment industry, we all have radio checks. We all check on set. We all check online, where we all check when we're on set. Radio check, check good. And we just told that story about, well, maybe we should incorporate that. And so he was sharing a story that one of his guys was having a tough go, took some time off, and he felt that it was time for a radio check for him. And because he hadn't heard from him, he had been reaching out, and it had been a 3-week vacation, turned it into nobody had heard from him. So they did a radio check. And there he was, ready to completely take his life and end it all because he had gone completely undiagnosed, doing all the amazing things, handsome, great haircut, great muscles in his uniform, making sure that nobody knew that he was suffering. And he took it upon himself during his summer break to that conversation of getting something in there to make sure that we're doing radio checks with people, regardless if we think that they're healthy or not. Let's just do a quick radio check, see how they're doing. In that particular case, let's check that off. We got our first life saved from what we're doing out here.
When you're building this community up, if you're doing a show, there's the laughter. But what other structures around that community? Is it like you just described someone going, I haven't heard back from Buddy for about 3 weeks. And actually we're into our 5th and 6th week. Something's, your internal compass is going, you got to go check that, right? Something's triggering you to do that. Is there some sort of structure? Is it a loose fit where you're sorting this stuff out? And you talk about someone getting to the edge. You hear about different major people in the acting field. Robin Williams. There's another gentleman, Men Excess, the lead singer. There's a couple people, the names kind of pop in and going, like you said, perfect hair, everything's perfect, and there's a hole somewhere. How do you corral that so you actually can't guarantee success, but you have a chance to catch that moment before it goes sideways?
And this is where the engagement will come in with some of our tools that we want to put in place so that we can track and engage. If buddy A was not checking in and we've done 1, maybe 2 radio checks, then there's the structure would be, we need to engage the community where the community can step in and make sure, because at the end of the day, it's all about that support system through the community. We really don't have a roadmap to what that's going to look like for development. Right now, we're counting on each other to become more aware that it's okay for us to say, I'm going to stop by because you haven't replied to my radio chat. That way we can make sure that everybody has an opportunity to get together and support where support might be needed.
You also find that it tends to lean more heavily towards the males that are supposed to be stoically strong and less to the women. Not that women would suffer any less. Do you find that it tends to be a weight to gender, or is that a bias?
What we're finding is PTSD infects the whole house. It can be very much a trickle-down effect. So someone bringing it home and they're suffering, whether it be anger, alcoholism, or just violence, whatever that might be, it plays out for everyone to see in that household. So then the next person, whether it's female or male, they dive into their own PTSD journey. And so we want to make sure that we're recognizing the signs sooner. Alcohol's a telltale right away that alcohol increase of consumption, something's going on. That person didn't typically have an alcohol addiction problem or frequent use. And all of a sudden here we are, we've gone from 2 drinks a week to 20 drinks a week. Something needs to be addressed. That's a sign. What do we need to do? And then that's where the engagement can also help folks that need to really question what's going on, take a look inward.
One thing that I find quite interesting, Ian, is not only are you got a passion, not only have you got a product, and comedy is very much its own little mini category, but you're also an entrepreneur. How would you encourage new entrepreneurs to keep them heading on the long term about the mission from what you've seen?
Keep dreaming and then planning, get that roadmap in place with certain checkpoints. Those checkpoints are important because if you're not hitting those checkpoints, you're missing out. You're not recognizing what's been accomplished and where you still need to go. Great. Journal that. Write down some of what you got going on. I know, judging by the gray hair on my face and head, yeah, I still use paper pens. That's real. That's what keeps me going still. So if you need to do it on paper, pen. Don't be ashamed. We're keeping Bic alive. But journal, you got to write that down. You got to make sure that it is supported through your journey. Find people with similar thoughts and support systems. Find a mentor, someone that you can share ideas with. And that's a big one. We do have partners. We do have mentors in our group that can give us some feedback, and we're finding new ones every day because this is just an exciting new project that hasn't really been done. So many people have their own thoughts and suggestions for us, and we're taking it all in. We've got no egos here. Maybe on stage, there's a wee bit of an ego, but outside of it, we know this is a humanitarian project that needs to be addressed. We have so many people serving us, working for us, making sure we're safe. Why don't we do the same for them when they're off, and making sure that they have support for them when they've been exposed to some of the most horrendous things we can see. This is the reality of their business, and we're here to help them.
What's the business model?
We are currently using sponsors. We have sponsors that are coming in and sponsoring the event. So we're able to bring awareness. Portion of that is going to go to the charities that are working with us as well. We've opened up a dialogue with these charities that if someone wants to donate so that we can keep going, they can donate through those charities nation, and then we can continue to grow there. We're opening it up to investors as well to help us with the application piece and the digital piece that we're working on. If an investor wants to come in and work with us and develop a health and wellness app, we're more than happy to have a conversation about what our business plan looks like and how we plan to go to market with it.
You have some upcoming projects to brag about.
What we've got going on November the 12th at the Chilliwack Culture Center, we've got some great guys getting together to do this. We've got Byron Bertram, Johnny Parada, Justin Nickel, myself, and Michael Adamsway. We're all going to get on stage and start the awareness. We're going to bring in some guest speakers from certain organizations. We've got some charities and therapists that are going to do a quick hello, talk about what they've got available for support. We're going to roll right into stand-up comedy through the three comics and have a night of laughter, making sure that everyone knows what we're doing, get some swag in their hands, get some awareness out that we're here to help. We're here to share stories, tell stories, make jokes, and have fun. We're here to make sure that you're healthy and mentally ready to go for the next day.
About stand-up comedy. And we both agreed that there's a piece missing. Laughs are great, and having an audience think you're funny is huge, but there's a missing moral to the story. You felt there needed to be a now what, that there was something beyond 3 drinks and chicken wings. Tell me about the moral of the story. You've alluded to it, but tell us about leaving the audience member changed.
For me, the most important thing is it's not the right thing to do to just ignore what could possibly be a mental health issue or ignore what is currently going on with addiction. We're seeing fentanyl and Oxycontin through the roof. And I know it's just one of those things that people do, you know what, that's on them. They slipped and fell, and that's on them. And I get it's an easy solution. But what we want is to bring awareness that you don't have to fix the problem. We can help with that with our community, but you can participate by just doing a quick radio check. Just check in with them. I know my friend is now on their second bottle of whatever when they typically were just on half a bottle, or now they're right deep into Oxycontin or painkillers or whatever the addiction might be. Let's just get a radio check in there. Let's just do a quick touch point where they can then do that inward look. And that's where we want them to be leaving this show and knowing that you're part of a community now. You're part of a night of laughter, a night of getting to know who we are and what we've got going on. But you're also part of this community now where you have an opportunity to help someone that you may or may not have known how to help. If you can just take that moment through a digital touch point, hashtag radio check, or just a text, hey, radio check, or a phone call, radio check, you've now started to reach out to someone and given them an opportunity to speak when they needed it the most.
When you have an event and people come to the event, is that meant to provide the relief they're looking for, or is it meant to provide the recognition that people are in stress and also partly help fund the program? Or is it a mix, both hand in hand?
It's a hand in hand. You're coming into an event, you're going to get medicine. That medicine is laughter. You're going to be coming out of there a little bit more relaxed and like, oh my God, I can't believe you said that. That was hilarious. That was beautifully said. You just got medicine. From that, that's our job right there, is to give a quick dose of medicine, a quick dose of awareness, that's what we're here to do. We're here to give you medicine, and we're here to get you in tune with what we can create as a community. And we're asking you to join our community, and we will bring this to anyone and anyone that wants us to come. And we have multitude of talent across Canada that can join this. And right now, we haven't even tapped to the bigger names in Canada. We've already been told if we hit certain benchmarks, this is definitely going to be something that they're going to be interested in. Every comic, I don't care who you are, has been in this situation where they know that mental health has been a priority for them, and they worked in their own world to get themselves in check. Here they are, and this is how they're producing their best medicine through laughter on the day-to-day.
Since you said it's medicine, how often should you get the medicine?
I laugh every day. I'm laughing right now.
And you're right. Find the funny bone in the moment. But
Yeah.
there's a music festival here in Ottawa. I love going to that once a year. It's 10 days long. It's a good way to open your pores up because it's the middle of summer. Have a pint and, I like that band, don't like that band. One of my kids comes along with me. They have a 10-day pass. We have a blast when one of their friends comes along. That's an annual thing. Is this something that people should do like weekly basis, monthly basis, quarterly, totally dependent on the person or dependent on their stress level?
Our goal right now is to launch this and make this a successful one. That's our first priority, so that everyone knows we can do this. From that point on, there should be at least once a month that we will be coming to you in some way, shape, or form. Especially in the West Coast, because in Ontario, Yuck Yucks has a beautiful chain. They have Ottawa, they've got on Toronto, they've got Niagara Falls, they've got traveling Yuck Yucks. But we've lost Just for Laughs. We know that it's being reincarnated. We know that there's some work that's looking at bringing that festival, and that's once a year. But if we can do something once a month, then we're really giving someone to follow and do something as opposed to every week. I know that it's really hard to keep that pace going for once a week. If we grow to once a week, I'm not going to say no to that. But I think realistically speaking, if we can create an awareness event, an event of laughter once a month, that's doable. And we just need to plan that out and get that executed as much as possible.
Are you syndicating
Maybe,
or
maybe,
franchising?
maybe.
That's
Whatever works. We have talked, because the talent here, we all have resumes. We've done things. We're not famous, but we've done enough that we know we can do stuff. And we thought, what a great idea to grab a small budget and do some sort of content piece, whether it be a comedy, a romantic comedy, a dramedy, whatever the case may be, where the large focus is first responder dealing with mental health and coming in and adding a sprinkle of comedy on how they had to deal with it. It's going to take money. It's going to take support. We do have production teams ready to work with us. It's just a matter of making sure we have the right project, the right writers, the right talent. And then, hello, Netflix. We have something you may want to look at.
I'm interested in going beyond social media, being a little bit more proactive, to going from I'm here for an evening of laughs to I've joined a community. What is the touch points of how do they know they're part of the community? What's that look like?
Michael and I have been discussing that. We've been doing a couple of shows. I think we've got 4 episodes now. We have a couple that are in the can ready to go. But we've also noticed that it might be a good idea to just get out there in real life and start talking to folks about what are you doing for your best medicine? Right now, here where I live, Chilliwack, BC, I've got the Vedder River full of fishermen right now. If I was to go talk to them, what's your best medicine? They're going to talk to me about the time they caught the biggest fish. Those are great stories. Just get them talking and just let people know that what is it that you do for your best medicine? So those are the types of touch points we're looking at, getting out to the community and hitting some real life situations. Getting to the fire departments, getting to the police stations, getting to the legions, and just doing some guest conversations about what we're working on and what we're doing. We won't do a full hour or 30 minutes. We don't want to bore people. We want to keep them engaged. We've seen a lot of mental health events that we've seen and gone to. It's death by slides. And we don't want to bore people. Forget about the PowerPoint. You're not going to get a PowerPoint from us. You might get a statistic or two up on the monitor during the comedy show, but we're not going to. And this slide here is about how your brain. No, we're not here to do that. We're here to engage you, keep you engaged, and bring you to some sort of funny anecdote, whatever that might be.
Mentioned chatting with me earlier that there was a desire to change the world in the toxicity of the stand-up life itself, with the reliance on booze and endorphins and the down after the show, and that you might actually change how comedy is delivered. Can you unpack that a little bit? It really intrigued me.
It's safe to say that we're not living in the same society that we were 10, 15 years ago when you could get away with being rude, crude, and everything else. I found comics reinventing themselves coming out of COVID, coming into this new society of, for lack of better words, wokeness. You don't want to be in that crosshair of, I've offended you. Just recently doing some new shows, I've noticed that's what the crowd's looking for. I think that's great. They're looking for some crude, but I think that's up to us, the comics, to be smarter than that. I'm starting to see a lot of great comics in today's genre being clever. And I think that's where we need to steer that ship. We can sprinkle some crude, maybe move away from the offensiveness, because that could be a trigger and turn us into the enemy, but we don't want that to. Being smarter might be our solution here, writing smarter comedy. If you want good TV time, make sure you have a clean 15, clean 20. And maybe that's something we need to focus on across the board. Let's keep a clean 45, a clean 90 minutes and see where that goes. That's what I've been working on, redirecting my new invention of Ian Imrie, the comedian. What does that look like? Definitely an older dude with kids. I'm sure there's lots to talk about. So it just needs to be a little bit more relatable and a little bit smarter.
As a quick kind of catch to all the things we've discovered, comedy or laughter being a good medicine for health, regardless whether you're in a downward spiral or otherwise. What keys would you relate to people for their mental health in starting a business?
Yes.
What are the keys for having good mental health, keeping yourself in check, and for starting a business?
I mentioned it earlier. I think it's one of the most healthiest thing to do is dream. You got to want to know where you're going. And if you can keep in your dreams in reality and start checking out, because that was me right up from the game. I'm going to be an actor. I'm going to be this. And I never thought that I would, but my dreams were pushing me to the point where keep going, practice your craft. Even if you're not good, keep practicing. The next thing, I'm booking commercials. I'm on movie sets. I'm working with top comedians in both the United States and Canada. I never went anywhere with my career other than booking gigs and getting paid. I never really got much recognition outside of that, but I was fine with that. But with that mentality and keeping yourself driven and moving and then applying that in another project, entrepreneur, that relates because you're committed, your direction, you're committing to the work ethic, you're bringing integrity to what needs to be done. I think that's where it's relatable. Those are the keys that you need, is just make sure that you're bringing integrity. You've got a great plan. You got a great dream and some good people to back you up along the way. And if you don't, do it yourself.
Ian, I'm pretty sure our audience is going to relate. But if they want to find you, if they want to hear more, how do they get a hold of you?
We just launched bestmedicine.ca. That is where we will have all of our handles. We are launching that here today, being the 4th of October, for launching ticket sales here for next week, where you start selling tickets online. So bestmedicine.ca. We've got podcasts launching with that. We've got YouTube. We've got the TikTok already. I just aged myself. We got the TikTok. We got TikTok. We've got X, formerly known as Twitter. We've got all of the handles launched. Come on to the website, check us out and follow along. And again, we're always here for suggestions. If you've got someone that wants to talk, we're here to chat.
Thank you.
I want to say thank you to Ian Imrie, my co-host Wayne Pratt, and you, the Knack for Business listeners. If you want to explore more in that space, understanding how a comedy session can actually help lighten the load, reach out to Ian. He's coming to a town near you here in Canada, and I suspect North America. Reach us. It's info@creativeinsight.com. That's KREATIVINSIGHT.com, or at the website, creativeinsight.com. Wayne, how can folks reach you?
Best way is my website, motivateyou.ca, MOTIVE, the numeral 8, the letter U.ca. And my email is wayne@motivateyou.ca.
If you would like to be a guest on this podcast and share your knowledge, let us know. We would also appreciate your feedback on the content or format. Check the show notes for more details. For these podcasts, we like to acknowledge the support and thanks to the following people. Carl Richards from Podcast Solutions Made Simple, a renowned podcast expert. Fred Crouch, who is the Property Wizard podcaster, where Bernie is a co-host. Jovan Strika from At Hive, a co-working space that is more than just a space. Then Melanie Weber, Bernie's invaluable business partner. And Wayne Pratt from Motivate You Inc., who serves as both a coach and co-host of these podcasts. Disclaimer. Please note that the Knack for Business podcast episodes are meant solely for educational and general informational purposes. The information and opinions contained within are not intended to be professional advice on any subject matter. The thoughts, views, and opinions expressed by the participants are their own personal beliefs and do not represent the views of the podcast hosts or any affiliated organizations. It is important to note that this podcast is not a replacement for consulting with certified experts in your area who possess knowledge of your unique situation. The hosts of the podcast, along with any participants or affiliated groups, do not take responsibility for any actions taken or not taken based on the information presented in this episode. It is highly recommended that individuals seek guidance from their own personal advisors in fields such as accounting, law, or other pertinent areas prior to undertaking any actions or making decisions that may impact their financial, legal, or other aspects of life.